You had mentioned just a little scene of that as I had also thought was poignant when I guess he's coming out of the Will Stutely is being escorted out of the town towards the place where he will be hanged, and it's like a crossroads, and he looks out at the verdant fields, and it's sort of this beautiful kind of scene, and this is like practically the last moment of his life, his consciousness, and I thought that was, a poignant kind of scene.
Yeah, I thought it really it both did a lovely job portraying, the English countryside. Like I was like, oh, I could picture it. It's so lovely and refreshing. And then also like on an emotional side, like you were saying, it's very clearly the last moment of this guy's life, and he's just the beauty and the appreciation of life in general, the way everything gets sharper and sweeter when we think we're gonna die.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I didn't know what to really talk about. I mean, one thing is though that it seems like things are getting a little more serious in terms of there's going to be a death, and it doesn't happen, but yeah, maybe a little away from the sort of slightly maybe comic book kind of feeling of like these Robin Hood stories, the very light touch that they had. It gets more serious here.
Yeah, for sure. It does. The stakes get higher. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought yeah, and it's interesting that Little John is kind of the one that shows up the most in the battle with the guards of the sheriffs. Um, but I don't know what to make of that. Just it's maybe just another portrait of just how brave and competent in fighting Little John is, to sort of, yeah, be at the
Yeah.
forefront.
It is kind of interesting. Robin Hood hardly, I mean, he's described as being there, but we don't really hear anything about him during the battle at all, which
Hmm,
he's the hero of a heroic story. Like,
yeah,
how do we not see him? And it is Little John. And that is interesting. I wonder, you mentioned something about Little John, working for the sheriff or something, and I saw a couple of chapter headings seem to focus on him. So I'm curious, going forward, if there's like what comes of it, but can't speak to that yet.
yeah, yeah. That might be part of just, yeah, a refocusing on Little John a little bit as the story arc goes on. I thought of also though Robin Hood not being at the head of the battle. It's sort of like, to me, maybe I just see everything through this light, but he is maybe like a little bit of a leader. Like, I would think in even in martial settings, the leader would want to be a little bit careful risking themselves because they're so sort of important to the welfare of the group and the society for Robin Hood.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. That's a good point. It may have been just something that was expected, um, by even just the writer, or by within the story itself, by the characters, of like, yeah, of course he's not going to be on the front lines. He's the leader.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, very good, wide-ranging discussion. Did you want to bring anything else up about this story, Robin Hood, and legitimacy of leadership?
I don't think so. I think I guess one thing, it was interesting to see the king kind of pop up as just the king. I always expect the Robin Hood stories to be, I mean, we've been talking about them as if the legitimate ruler is missing and whatever. And here the king's presented as the king, and he seems very kingly, and his wife is described as lovely or beautiful, or so they're sort of lauded in this way.
Mm,
And he just seems like he doesn't want to be involved, which is kind of a step, kind of a bad thing for a leader to be, but then also I think he's in his rights to say, no, you're supposed to be handling this. This is your
yeah,
area of authority. I'm not, I'm, you're doing that for me. So I'm not going to come in and like,
yeah,
so he seems to kind of do the right thing there. So it is kind of interesting to see the king of the land not portrayed in an ill light, despite the fact that we're still waiting for Richard the Lionheart to come back and kind of set everything right. Um, be interesting to see how that plays out as we go through